7 ISU Redbirds pay a visit to 10 and 13 Indiana State. Welcome everybody to the Holman Center in Terre Haute for Illinois State University basketball. Kurt Pegler along with Bob Morris here on Fox 43 WYZZ. And Bob, the Redbirds are playing this afternoon's game a little shorthanded. Dom Johnson is home with the flu, so the Redbirds will not have that very fine senior in the backcourt, being the leadership responsibilities squarely fall on the shoulders of Boo Richardson.
Yes, and there probably isn't anybody the coaching staff would rather have that responsibility fall upon rather than Boo. Boo's done a great job of leading this team all season long. You know, what else can you say about the young man that we haven't probably already said? But I tell you what, the young man knows how to step up when it's really needed. He is the heart and soul of this club in so many different things. He brings an amazing amount of energy to the floor, and it's a contagious type energy that the rest of the team jumps on board and runs with him when he comes out.
Meanwhile, the strength of the Sycamores, also their backcourt, and they've got a very fine senior from Little Rock, Arkansas, and Gabe Moore.
Gabe Moore is also a senior leader for the Sycamores, just as we talked about Boo Richardson being for the Redbirds. Gabe has just recently playing his best ball. At the last game against Bradley, he stepped up for a season-high 27 points, going 14 of 14 from the foul line, and he has been one of those that they're going to rely on. If they're going to stay out of the play-in game in the Valley Tournament, they've got to have him step up and be a continuously good player for them down the stretch.
Indiana State has won 10 of its 11 games in this facility this year. The Redbirds try to hand them loss number 2 at home this afternoon. Stay tuned. It's ISU and ISU up next here on Fox 43 WYZZ.
Kurt, we see Indiana State starting out in a 2-3 zone, which you never really know what they're going to run defensively. They like to mix things up. That's kind of the strength of their defense, is the fact that they do mix up a lot of defenses.
5 on the shot clock. Osiris Eldridge's 3 nicked the front of the rim. Anthony Slack gets it and sticks it back in. And through contact, a 3-point play opportunity for Anthony Slack, who missed the game in Normal when these two teams met. He was still suffering that shoulder injury.
That was his first full game that he missed after being injured in a Bradley game. This was the first game following that he missed, and it was at Redbird Arena, which I think had a lot to do with the closeness of the game. I'm not saying it was the only reason, but he being out for the first time ever does affect your team.
How about Osiris Eldridge, the offensive rebound, and lays it in? And now Osiris Eldridge has gone over the 400-point mark in his career, given 401 points on the season for the Redbirds.
The first 2 baskets by the Redbirds are energy baskets. Just out-hustled, outworked the Sycamores.
Here's Jay Tunnel, short turnaround jumper. He worked his way down low and hit the short fadeaway.
Strong move right there. Took a couple of power dribbles and went up over top of the Bird defenders. Sycamore staying in their 2-3 zone. They'll play that. They'll play a 3-2 zone. They'll play some man-to-man. They just like to mix things up throughout the game to keep you off balance.
Odiakosa. Now it's back out to Eldridge. His 3 from the corner is good, so Osiris Eldridge has hit 2 of his first 3 shots from the field. He has 5 of the Redbirds' 7.
And the Redbird fans out there love to see get off to a good start, because that typically means there's energy is high and the Birds are flying high at themselves.
Moore at the top of the circle now. It's Stinson at the big game in Normal against the Redbirds. Now Moore, his 3 is no good, and the rebound is taken down by the Redbirds. Quickly back up the floor is Boo Richardson. Here's Eldridge again. He's feeling it. He'll try another 3 and drop it again.
He's hit 3 for 3 and hasn't touched the rim yet. He is just lighting it up and feeling the mood.
And Kevin McKenna wants to call timeout real quick here. He didn't like the way this game is starting out. The Sycamores are 10-1 at home this year, but the Redbirds look like they're very comfortable at the Holman Center, at least in this opening 2 minutes.
Well, I think you just hit on a key point. They're comfortable, and I think you see Osiris Eldridge in this shot here. We'll see the replay. He comes down, he spots up, nobody's in his face, boom. He is comfortable right now with the ball in his hands, and he has been the last 2 weeks. The young man likes to take over a ball game early and set the tone.
So in the first 2 minutes here in Terre Haute, Osiris Eldridge has gone over the 400-point mark in this season and the 700-point mark in his career. He's just a sophomore.
Yeah, that's a key point. He's just a sophomore. That strikes a little tear into the hearts of the remainder Valley members, knowing he's coming back for 2 more years.
Well, you remember that it was a big, critical 3-point shot by Osiris Eldridge to win the game in the final seconds in Normal when these teams met back on the 27th of January. Ball is on the floor. The Redbirds are going to come away with it.
Redbirds were in their typical half-court man-to-man defense and doing a good job of it, creating a turnover once again. good start for the Redbirds. A lot of energy, things going their way, looking good right now.
Holloway goes down low. It's Anthony Slack on the low block. Fakes left. He tried to shoot right and drew contact again, and another foul against the Sycamores.
Well, again, you saw when Anthony gets the ball down low, you see here on the replay, he makes a couple of head fakes, comes back across the middle, help side hacks him on the arm as he goes up. Good job of getting the ball down low. When he gets it on the block, that low in the lane and that close to the basket, it's next to impossible to stop him if your double team isn't there immediately.
Dave Drucker, Mark Mayhood, and Dan Nowakowski are the officials working this afternoon's game. Illinois State leads the all-time series with the Sycamores, 55-42. This is the 98th meeting between the two schools, and again, the first meeting this year won by the Redbirds at Redbird Arena, 65-62 on January the 27th. The Redbirds, by the way, are 15-11 all-time here at the Holman Center.
Well, it's a nice place to play. I think it's a great basketball venue from a player's perspective. It has a good basketball environment to it.
Short shot is missed by Harry Marshall, and high up to get the rebound is Arnold. Now it's going to be an offensive foul. Mariko Stinson.
As you saw there, Stinson made a nice dribble penetration, got into the lane and got his off arm, his free arm extended and pushed the defender, which happened to be Holloway, pushed him off a little bit. Referee was right in front of it, called it, goes Redbirds' way.
Stinson was very good in the game in normal. He had 22 points against the Redbirds with 5 assists, but off to a slow start here at home. Now it's Dima Odiakosa's turnaround jumper is good. He worked his way down low, and he only had about a 6-foot turnaround.
They did not drop down and double team on him, and again, if you get him that ball as low as he got it right there, he's going to do some damage. I don't think people understand how valuable of a weapon he is to the Redbirds yet. I don't think they quite have a clue about him.
He had a career-high 15 points in the first matchup with the Sycamores. Nice outside jumper that time goes down from Stinson. He is a better-looking sophomore, too. You've got two really, really good sophomores in this game in Eldridge and Stinson.
You hit the nail on the head right there. They're both outstanding players.
Here's Osiris Eldridge again from the corner for 3. He's got 3 3-pointers, and he's in double digits already for the 21st time in 22 games. Eldridge, he's in double digits in the first 4 minutes of this basketball game.
That's absolutely amazing. At 4 minutes in the game, you're already at a double-digit scoring pace.
11 points. 11 points for Eldridge. And now Eldridge drew a foul that time, or drew contact. It's going to be a 3-point opportunity for Adam Arnold.
Again, they got the ball down very low, right in front of the rim, and it's tough to defend that.
Adam Arnold goes to the free throw line. When we come back, the Redbirds off to a good start. They've got an early 15-6 advantage.
Scoring, and they become a more difficult team to defend. The second thing is they have to guard the perimeters of Indiana State well, because they have a 3-headed monster and more Marshall and Stinson that can light you up. And the third thing is I think the Redbirds have to win the battle on the boards. They got to go hard to the glass and prevent second chances for the Sycamores, and they themselves create second chances for themselves.
Arnold makes the free throw to complete the 3-point play. He leaves the game, and Todd McCoy enters.
Now we see the Sycamores going man-to-man out of their defense for the first time this afternoon. I think because of their zone, they felt Osiris Eldridge is getting too many clear looks, and now they're going to go man to have somebody assigned to him the whole time.
8 to shoot. Richardson, triple teamed. Holloway, loose ball. 15-footer rolls off, and it's Eldridge who gets it and puts it right back up. He can't get it to go, and it's McCoy that comes down with it.
Cyrus had another great look because he crashed the offensive boards, but it was a reverse layup, which is a high degree of difficulty to finish a lot of times.
He's already made one of those here this afternoon. He has 11 of the Illinois State 15. Stinson, guarded by Holloway. That's going to be a key matchup all game long. Stinson's pull-up jumper's no good. Long rebound. Holloway goes and gets it.
Those are the type of rebounds you're going to have a lot of in this game when you play Indiana State, because they shoot from outside. You're going to get long rebounds.
Crossover dribble by Eldridge, and it's going to be a 3-point opportunity for Osiris Eldridge.
Boy, he is just taking over the game. As you see on the replay, he beats his one man and then slides into the goal as the help side comes over, avoiding them, and the contact goes against the defender. Big O goes to the free throw line once again in an attempt for a 3-point finish.
Well, Eldridge has had back-to-back 24-point games, and he's well on his way to doing that again. He might do that in the first half.
Exactly, Kurt. I think he believes that's his goal here today. He wants to match his last 2 game highs by midpoint.
14 of Illinois State's points off the fingertips of Osiris Eldridge.
He is just stroking it so smooth. Again, on that free throw, it didn't touch the rim. That's when you know the player's comfortable. That release is at a perfect point.
Here's Gabe Moore. He's been quiet so far, and that's good news for the Redbirds. Jake Tunnel left open, and he shoots the 3. He's a 6'8" forward, but he doesn't mind stepping out and shooting the 3-point shot.
And that's what makes him dangerous. He can instead of having to get down low to get a basket, which he's capable of, as you said, he can go out top.
Odiakosa is guilty of a travel, so the Redbirds turn the basketball over. That's Illinois State's first turnover of this game.
Good job of getting the ball down low. The Birds have had success getting it inside, but Odiakosa, in fighting the contact that he was drawing that time as he went for his shot, he took a little bitty extra step, and in the process, that's a travel.
Siad Odzik, the sophomore transfer from USC, is now in the game for the first time for the Redbirds. Again, no Dom Johnson. He is at home with the flu bug. He did not even make the trip here to Terre Haute, so the Redbirds will be counting on players like Holloway and Odzik to pick up the slack. And speaking of slack, Anthony Slack with the steal.
Good job on that. Marshall tried to take him one-on-one in the center of the court, and Anthony got his hand on the ball, created the turnover. Birds come down with another opportunity to score without giving the Sycamores one.
Odzik lost the dribble and threw it away.
A little panic that time by picking the dribble up and not waiting till the player worked himself open to get rid of it.
We're seeing Alex Rubin check in. This is the first time that Alex has played in 13 games. And he's in the ball game to give Boo Richardson a little breather.
Well, and you're going to see Alex, I think, today play an important role because of the absence of Dom Johnson.
And it's McCoy who hits the jumper from the baseline left.
Now the Birds have to remain consistent out of their offenses. Without Dom in there today, he's going to test the bench and see what their strength is.
Sampay backdoor to
yeah.
Siad Odzik, and he's going to get some foul shots out of it. Sampay had checked in on the last whistle as well, along with Rubin.
That was an excellent play right there because, as you see on the replay, there's not much of an angle, but Brandon Sampay gets it in there, threads the needle, gets it right to Siad Odzik as he was cutting back door, drew the foul, chance to reap rewards as he goes to the free throw line.
Odzik, the sophomore from Skokie, who grew up in the former Yugoslavia. He and his family moved to the States when he was 4 years old. And he actually started his college basketball career at Southern California, was a key player for USC. In fact, was voted their top reserve 2 years ago. He transferred and had to sit out a full season, did not really play for the Redbirds until Christmas time.
And he's just starting to feel comfortable. I think it's been kind of a, anytime you lay out a year, it takes some transitional time before you get your basketball legs back and get to feeling comfortable. And I think he's just starting to get there.
Here's Holmstrom. He's guarded by Rubin, looking inside the tunnel. He gets it to tunnel, backs in on Sampay. Quick hands that time by Osiris Eldridge. Eldridge with the steal. He's got Rubin on his left. He gives it to him. Now back out to the top. It's Sampay. Now it's Eldridge in the corner. Fake the 3, drives, scoops, and drew contact.
Again, they're rushing out on him so hard, so quick. Then it allows him to take it to the bucket. As we see him going right here, here comes the help side. Once again, they don't get squared up on him. And the contact affects the shot, so they've got to make the call. I know the crowd wasn't very happy about it here, but that's the way the game has to be officiated. If your contact doesn't really give you an advantage, then sometimes they let it go, and there's no advantage. But that time, there was a disadvantage in the fact that it affected the release of the shot by Osiris, so therefore they had to make the call.
Eldridge has such an explosive first step, and when you knock down a couple of threes in the opening minutes, you start putting that thought into the defense that I got to go out and guard this guy, I got to jump out there, and then Osiris goes right by you.
That's right. The easiest person to drive by is the one that's running hard out on a defender to close out. If you don't come out under control, then you're vulnerable to getting beat off the dribble, and Osiris understands that. He knocked down 3 threes. They're coming hard. He can shot fake, go by him, as you saw. He personally is putting the Sycamores in some foul trouble.
Well, Osiris Eldridge is having a whale of a first half. Of the Redbirds' 22 points, he has 16 of them.
And he gets a rest right now, too, as we see Emmanuel Holloway check in for him at the end of that made second free throw.
Isaiah Martin is checked in the game for the first time for Indiana State. He wears number 21. Now it's Holmstrom. He gives out to Moore, who is fouled. He penetrated and gave Moore. He's that explosive player on the other end for Indiana State. Nice first step, and he drew contact. And it's going to be the second team foul against the Redbirds. That foul was whistled against Odzik.
Excuse me, Kurt. One of the things that the Sycamores like to do in their offense is they do like to spread you out defensively and then beat you off the dribble and get dribble penetration to the lane area. And when they do that, they're a very effective team.
Moore, he threw the pass in, got it right back, and spun and scored.
Well, you can't turn your back onto the ball when you're underneath the opponent's basket, or that very thing will happen to you.
First 2 points of the game for the senior from Little Rock, Arkansas, who's coming off a 27-point performance against Bradley on Wednesday night. Now we got a whistle away from the ball. It's going to go against the Redbirds. Looks like Braden Sampay.
No, I believe it's Siad Ozick.
You're right, it is.
Who set the screen for Brandon Sampay to come off of it. And they said Ozick got his arms out and extended on the screen.
And that's Odzik's second foul and the Redbirds' third foul here of the half. We're just underway. We've played just over 8 minutes. It's Illinois State 22 and Indiana State 14. Kurt Pegler, Bob Morris with you here on Fox 43 WYZZ. And glad you're alongside for ISU against ISU, Missouri Valley Conference Hoops from Terre Haute.
That's always fun to say, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't get the opportunity very often.
Here's Moore. Just made his first basket, but missed that three.
Moore gets less on that attempt.
Slack thought about the back door to a cutting Odzik, but instead goes to Sampay. Sampay, kick out now.
We're seeing the Sycamores in a half-court man-to-man defense. Again, they keep mixing things up. They're now in their man-to-man. Have been the last 2 or 3 possessions.
Alex Rubin lost the dribble, snapped the pass down to Sampay, had a shot blocked. Isaiah Martin.
He reversed it, thought he had it clean, but help side came over, as you said, in the form of Isaiah Martin. Slapped it
Timeout on the
off
floor.
the backboard.
11:09 to go here in the opening
play.
half. And the Redbirds lead the Sycamores 22-4. The Redbirds have a 22-14 lead over Indiana State. Kurt Pegler, Bob Morris with you for Illinois State basketball here on Fox 43 WYZZ. Osiris Eldridge, the story so far this opening half. He has 16 of Illinois State's 22, and Eldridge had all of 15 points in the first meeting between the two teams, so he's already eclipsed that in the first 9 minutes of this basketball game.
Not a bad start. Not a bad start. I think most players would take that.
Boo Richardson, Emmanuel Holloway have come back in for the Redbirds, and Levi Dyer is in the game for the first time for Illinois State, again playing without the flu-stricken Dom Johnson, and there's a steal.
You saw the Birds make a change in defense that time. They came out after the timeout in a 2-3 zone. Doing a little mixing up themselves out of the defensive end.
Here's Eldridge. He penetrates and kicks. Dyer thought about the three, instead gives to Holloway. Now it's Eldridge in the other corner for a three, and he still has a hot hand.
Opportunity killer. He can hit you from the left side. He can hit you from the right side. He is diverse as can be when it comes to scoring.
6 out of 8 from the floor now for Eldridge, who, by the way, is shooting nearly 50% in Missouri Valley Conference play at 49%. And now there's a three-ball hit by Stinson in the other corner.
Answers right back with a deep three from the right corner that time. Good ball movement by the Sycamores to get in that position.
And now a steal. It's Martin that comes away with it.
One dribble too far out of the penetration that time by Boo Richardson. Got into some heavy traffic. The Birds are staying in the 2-3 zone.
And now the Redbirds get a steal. It's Holloway that comes away with it. And now Boo Richardson would be wise to pull up, which he does, and waits for the rest of his team to come down the floor. Now Holloway, he penetrates, gets into the paint, and drew contact, and Emmanuel Holloway is going to get to the free throw line.
Well, we see it as we show Emmanuel coming down the lane right here. He turns the corner, gets his hips past the defender's hips, and he knows he's got him beat, so he's taking it all the way in to draw the foul. And I think we're seeing more aggressive style out of our guards right now, and therefore we're drawing a lot of fouls early. And I think that the Redbirds have got to continue that pattern, because without Dom Johnson, who typically becomes the penetrator and the finisher, somebody's got to step up and fill that role. And I think the Birds collectively have been doing that today.
That foul is against Mariko Stinson. That's his second and the 7th team foul against the Sycamore, so the Redbirds are now in the bonus.
And that's really a plus for the Redbirds that Stinson gets a second foul early, because with 9.5 minutes to go in the first half, he'll probably sit on the bench the rest of the game unless the score dictates something differently. And he's a main cog in their offense.
Marshall at the top of the circle gives it inside the tunnel. He's already hit a 3. His pull-up 15-footer rolls in.
He's capable, as we talked about. He's not flashy, he's not quick, but he can power you down low or step outside and hit a shot like that all day long. He's a complete player, does a nice job.
And a former Mr. Basketball in the state of Kansas as a high school player.
That's not bad credentials.
Yeah, that's pretty good company to be in.
Yes.
Richardson tried to bounce a pass through traffic to Odiakosa, and it's the Sycamores that come away with the steal. Now it's Arnold left open. His 3, top of the circle, rolls out. Tunnel fights for the rebound and gets it. Now it's Stinson. His 3 from the wing is way off.
My. I didn't think he could shoot a shot that looked like that. He's too good of a player.
Well, for a guy that was a one-man wrecking crew in the game in normal,
exactly.
He looks a little out of sync here this afternoon.
Exactly. Let's hope our defense can continue to keep him that way, because the Redbirds would be happy, I think, if they thought he could be out of sync.
Eldridge 3, and he shot it over Jay Tunnel, who stepped out on the defensive end.
I know I'm repeating myself here, Kurt, but he has still yet to hit the rim. Everything is dead center. He is about as accurate as one can be.
3 straight 20-point scoring performances now for Osiris Eldridge, who has now followed up back-to-back 24-point games with a 22-point opening half here in Terre Haute.
This is as fine of individual performance as you've ever going to witness.
Stinson, there's your 3. You knew that it would only be a matter of time before he knocked one down.
No doubt. He's too good a player to keep handcuffed for a length of time.
29-22, the Illinois State 7-point lead over Indiana State. Osiris Eldridge with a basketball. What a first half he's had. Now he slips a ball to Dima Odiakosa, and they're going to say he traveled.
And he did. He got excited when he caught the ball, and he looked towards the basket, and there was no one there. He took too many steps.
7-point Redbird lead, 7:34 to go here in the opening half.
I have a good rapport with the Heller family. There is no pressure like you experience at other dealerships. You feel like you want to come back. It's like family. It's a feeling of appreciation, not only as a customer, but as a friend. And that friendship in this business goes a long way. Fairness, integrity, reliability, sincerity, trust. Heller put me first.
How stressful is your life? Kids, work, family. You just don't have time to worry about anything else except taxes. That's the one thing you don't have to worry about. Sharp Income Tax Service eliminates the stress over tax preparation. For 35 years, not only have Sharp's customers been getting expert tax-saving advice, they get something even more valuable, peace of mind. So why stress over the changing tax laws? Call Sharp Income Tax Service today and then worry about something really important, like spending your refund on your loved ones.
When it comes to horsepower, lots of tractors have the numbers, but numbers don't do work. You do. That's why you want a new Jon Deere 20 Series tractor with Load Match. It puts more power where the work gets done to help you dig, lift, haul, and enjoy. Test drive a 20 Series tractor today. It gives you more power where it counts.
Cross Brothers Implement Inc., your local authorized Jon Deere dealer.
The Redbirds riding the hot hand of Osiris Eldridge, who knocks down a 3 with Jay Tunnel flying at him. And what a first half that Mr. Eldridge has had. 22 points, 22 of his team's 29. He has equaled the entire scoring output of the Sycamore team.
That's just absolutely incredible. The young man is knocking down shots, but he's working hard to get open, so he has those shots available, and he's using his teammates' screens. He's doing a great job of moving without the ball to get himself in a position to be available for the shot attempts.
He's 5 of 6 from three-point land, and this is the 4th time in his career that he's had a game in which he scored at least, or he had at least 5 three-point makes. Near steal that time by Eldridge. The ball is off of Moore and out of bounds, so good hands by Levi Dyer.
Levi Dyer got his hands in there on that, and that's a great, I think, a great sign to see Levi active, energized, ready to play defense. You know, the team has been needing Levi to make contributions. We saw signs of it in the last outing, and I think he's doing it here again today.
Yeah, Levi's points against Missouri State on Wednesday night were his first in 3 games. And driving to the basket and scoring is Holloway.
Once again, he gets that corner turned. He's a finisher, taking it to the glass. He's stepping up well today, filling in Dom Johnson's empty shoes.
The Redbirds have made 10 of their first 14 shots from the field, shooting 71%.
That's tough to beat. I don't care if you're home, away, or neutral, or where you're at. You shoot 70+%, you're going to win a lot of ball games.
Tunnel is fouled by Richardson.
Well, if you're going to double down, you got to be careful not to hack, and that's what Boo got caught in there. He got his hand in the cookie jar that time, and they caught him at it. Particularly since the referee was only
Right
about
there,
3
yeah.
feet from the action.
Levi Dyer goes back to the Redbird bench in favor of Anthony Slack, who's in. So the Redbirds have Richardson, Slack, Holloway, Odiokosa, and Eldridge on the floor right now.
Birds are in a half-court man-to-man now. They themselves have switched up some defenses today, playing some 2-3 zone. And we get another tip away, and the Birds get a steal and come down on the break.
Eldridge to Boo Richardson.
Oh, my. What a beautiful, beautiful finish by Boo, and a great pass by Osiris.
And the whole play started with the overplay from Dima Odiokosa and the steal on the defensive end.
Exactly. Defense leading to offense. Coaches love to see that.
Gabe Moore. Boy, it was almost like the parting of the Red Sea. All of a sudden, he had 6 feet to work with, and that's just way too much room for him.
Yep. The Birds that time defensively chose to go under the screen, and he took full advantage of that and shot behind it then.
Gabe Moore now with 4 points. He scores about 11.5 a game for the Sycamores. We're under 6 minutes to go here until halftime. 33-24 Illinois State. Offensive foul against the Redbirds. Looked like it was an illegal screen.
Yeah, they called it on Anthony Slack. And he got an arm out on the screen. You know, and to me, those are kind of mystery calls. Because I think you could actually call a moving screen on every screen that gets set nowadays in modern basketball. So when they randomly pick one and call it that, the players are befuddled because I'm not doing anything different than I did last time. So it's kind of an unusual thing, I think, for the players to adjust to that.
It's a little bit like holding in football.
Exactly.
I mean, honestly, you can pretty much call it on every down. The Redbirds have asked for and been granted a 30-second timeout. Again, it's 33-24 Illinois State. A spectacular opening half of basketball, really for the Redbirds in general, highlighted by Osiris Eldridge's 22 points. And again, the Birds, if you're just joining us, playing without their senior guard, Dom Johnson, who didn't even make the bus trip over with his teammates, as he's really been battling the flu the last couple of days.
Well, the Birds thought they were past the flu bug because about 2 weeks ago they'd all had a bout with it, and it ran through the team like wildfire. And just yesterday it jumped up and grabbed Dom, I guess, in a bad way. He's got it really in his throat. His upper respiratory system is really struggling with it, so it was best not to expose him to the rest of the team, and they left him at home.
Well, the Redbirds started out on fire in the first meeting between these two teams, shooting 62% in the opening half, and we're in for a dogfight for the bulk of the game. And the Redbirds off to a 73% shooting half here in Terre Haute. So just because they're off to a flashy start doesn't necessarily mean this is going to be a cakewalk, because it certainly won't. Eldridge is called for the foul at the perimeter.
You're exactly right on your comments, though, about not anticipating this to be a cakewalk, because anytime you're on the road in the Valley, anybody that's a fan of the Missouri Valley basketball knows you're in for a dogfight. I don't care where it's at and who it's against or what the point spread is in the first half. You're going to have to play well down the stretch to get a W.
And now we've got a foul against Indiana State. And if that's Stinson, that's his third.
Yes, it was.
So Mariko Stinson, one of the fine underclassmen in this league, a man who really caused Illinois State all kinds of trouble with a 22-point game in normals, now picked up his third foul here in the first half.
Well, and all the credit on that right there goes to Emmanuel Holloway. He was denying him the opportunity to break to the ball in playing denial defense, and Stinson got frustrated and just pushed him with 2 hands. And obviously you can't do that, and it cost him. He's frustrated, and the Birds are the benefit of his third foul of going to the bench. Sycamores, because of Stinson being out, has to go to a zone. They went to a 2-3. They get a cross-court pass and a kick down, and it finishes off right there. Great ball movement by the Birds, and Slack takes it home for 2.
Excellent ball movement there by the Redbirds. A great entry pass that time by Boo Richardson. Odiakosa trying to cause Gabe Moore some trouble at the perimeter. Now it's going to be McCoy. He's guarded by Slack. We approach the 4.5-minute mark left here in this opening half. Illinois State with an 11-point lead.
I'm sorry, Kurt. Birds are in a half-court man-to-man again. They've been in a 2-3.
Marshall penetrates and drew contact. The foul is going to be before the shot. But since the Redbirds are sitting on 6 fouls now, we're going to have a 1-on-1 bonus opportunity now for Harry Marshall, sophomore from Bowling Green, Kentucky.
While we got a little break right here, just an unusual odyssey in the game today in the fact that we've got Isaiah Martin, a very good contributor for the Indiana State Sycamores as a freshman this year. And obviously we all know in Redbird land what Osiris Eldridge can do for the Redbirds and is doing here. Both of those players were coached in high school by the ISU assistant, Paris Parham. Isaiah Martin had him last year as a senior at Morgan Park Academy, and Osiris Eldridge had him at Phillips Academy in Chicago. And I think we're seeing that Paris Parham's credentials as a coach is pretty darn good when he can put out the caliber of basketball players as those two young men. I know the Redbirds staff consider themselves very fortunate to have Coach Parham on their side.
And now after the made free throw, the Sycamores are showing full court pressure. Brandon Holtz has checked into the game for the first time. That's him with the basketball. He gives it up to Holloway. The Redbirds do a nice job of breaking pressure. Alex Rubin is back in now to spell Boo Richardson.
If they're going to show zone, those two can play. Oh,
how about a running one-hander from Emmanuel Holloway in his 3rd start of the season?
By doing what he did early in the game, being aggressive, turning the corner, taking the ball to the bucket, he's playing with confidence right now. He's playing with a lot of confidence, taking that ball to the bucket.
The Redbirds are shooting 75%, Bob, on 12. Now they've updated that 76.5% on 13 of 17 from the floor. Wow.
That's on fire.
That's hard to do in your driveway, let alone with guys guarding you on the road.
Exactly.
Deep 3 that time by Cole Holmstrom. Ball is on the floor, and the Sycamores get it.
Birds had it, but Holmstrom got a hand on it and knocked it loose.
Here's Arnold. His 3 is missed, and it's going to go down in the corner and chased down by Dima Odiakosa.
Great hustle by Dima Odiakosa right there. That was not an easy board to get. We're seeing the Sycamores now. They switched up again. They're in a man-to-man as they were last time, but they'd been in a 2-3 prior to that. Birds didn't let it phase them the last time. We saw Holloway finish off a runner down the right side. Let's see what they can do this turn.
Rubin gives it up to Holtz now with 8 on the shot clock. Down low, it's Anthony Slack, but he was bodied up before the shot. So we've got a foul against Arnold, and we'll shoot free throws when we come back. Illinois State with a 37-26 opening half lead over the Sycamores of Indiana State. Sycamores of Indiana State last night. That's all coming up in the half.
Real quickly, Kurt, let me put a plug in for what Jane Fulton does in that academic center. It is a first-class setup, and it is just amazing the productivity that she and her staff can get through to the athletes. It's just a very positive part of the athletic department, and it's headed by Jane Fulton, and she does a wonderful job with it.
Well, the Redbirds had a wonderful fall semester, a record-setting fall semester in grade point average, and in community service in the last 12 to 16 months, and we'll ask her about that, get her thoughts on that here at the half.
And we knocked down the first one. I followed the second free throw up and good.
Redbird softball team, we understand, was a 3-0 loser today to 21st ranked Georgia. The Redbird softball team has opened the season with a 3-5 record. We're under 3 minutes to go here until halftime. Redbirds 39, Indiana State 26. Arnold thought about the 3, stepped inside, and he drew contact on Anthony Slack. Slack switched out. He was guarding Nick Yelovich, who's just checked in the game for the first time for the Sycamores, and he stepped out, and it was Arnold penetrating and drawing contact on Slack, his first, and the 8th against the Redbirds. Check that, you're right, that is his second foul. And so Arnold, who drew a start here, is at the free throw line. This young man was a part of the Missouri Valley Conference all-bench team a year ago. His best game of this year was probably his 15-point effort at Creighton for the Sycamores, who are 10-1 at home this year. They've struggled mightily on the road, but they've been nearly unbeatable. The only team that's come into this building and won all year is nationally ranked Drake, the leader in the Valley.
I think that's a great point to make, because that just makes it all that more amazing what the Redbirds have done here in this first half. This team does not lose at home, only dropping one game, as you said, and the Birds have really handled the pressure and the defense tremendously.
Alex Rubin's three is short. Well, the Sycamores are shooting 55.5%, so they have played well here in the first half. It's just the Redbirds have come out on fire from the field.
Yeah. Now they have to finish the last 2 minutes strong and not get in foul trouble and not give open looks, because the Sycamores will knock down open looks in their building. I read a stat before the game that they're averaging 10 more points, 68 versus 58 at home compared to on the road, and they're averaging 45% for the field when playing at home versus 38% on the road. So they are by far a much better ball club in the Holman Center.
Emmanuel Holloway comes in, and Alex Rubin goes back to the Redbird bench. So it's Dyer, Holloway, Odiakosa, Holtz, and Blue Richardson on the floor right now for Illinois State. Here's Gabe Moore off the inbounds. He penetrates, and he's going to get a three-point play opportunity. And that's the second time that Gabe Moore has scored off an inbounds under the basket.
We're going to see the replay here as he come off a high double screen, goes baseline, and I think Emmanuel Holloway was convinced he had the position. But it didn't go that way by the officials' call. That's all that really matters.
We're seeing Aaron Carter and Isaiah Martin check into the game for the Sycamores. Yelovich and Holmstrom go back to the Indiana State bench. And Gabe Moore, who made 14 free throws on Wednesday. He was 14 of 14 from the foul line, and the Sycamores win over the Braves. Misses, but the ball is out of bounds off of Arnold, and so the Redbirds will get the ball back.
Now you'll see again with that miss, that gives the opportunity for the Sycamores to set up their full court pressure, and they're going to double team the inbounds, which comes to Odiakosa. Hits Boo, and Boo's looking to bring it up the court. Over to Holtz and back to Boo, and he walks it across the timeline.
90 seconds to go here in this opening half. The ball is on the floor. It was kicked, and it's out of bounds to the Redbirds.
Trying to look for that backdoor cut right there, and they got a leg in a way. They didn't get a hand or a body. They got a leg out there and got the way on it.
You're playing defense, you use every part of your body possible, don't you?
Exactly. You scrap, fight, do anything you can to get any part of it involved in it.
Knees, elbows, ears.
And most of them have the scars to prove it.
That ball is out of bounds this time to Indiana State, so an aggressive overplay by Isaiah Martin on Odiakosa.
Bad angle on the entry pass by Brandon Holtz that time. He needed to take a dribble down to the baseline, and he had a better look at it. And just kind of forced the situation a little bit to try to get the ball down low again.
8th Redbird turnover here in the opening half. 9-point lead for the Redbirds. Indiana State with a basketball. Here's Marshall. Marshall's fouled. Alex Rubin that time got him from behind.
Alex Rubin gets the call. Once again, dribble penetration, and the Birds were in a 2-3 zone that time, and when you let dribble penetration happen against the zone, there's not much good that can come from it.
Marshall is a player that kind of slipped through the cracks as far as the recruiting process was concerned. Evidently, a lot of the coaches just did not seem to want to bite on him, even though he was having a nice senior season in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and the Sycamores were more than welcome to bring him into the mix here, and now he's helped the Sycamores onto a 6-0 run. They've closed this down to a 7-point game.
Yes, they have. As well as the Birds have played, it's tough to imagine that it's this close, but it is.
Odiakosa was fouled. He's going to get to the free throw line. Richardson slipped him the ball right in a great spot there.
Well, it did. As he brought it down against the pressure of the Sycamores, he found Demas positioned himself down low, and he drew the defense to the ball, Boo did, and then dropped it down inside, and the only way they could stop Odiakosa was to foul him. Now he's got to focus in, knock him down. He has the ability to focus. Now let's see if he can drop it. And he does the first one right through the center of that cylinder.
Odiakosa is a guy who, you talk about kind of coming on the scene late. He's only played 4 years of organized basketball. He's got a Division I scholarship after just 4 years of organized basketball. That's almost hard to believe.
Again, I think he's another young man that the next 2 years the opponents in the Missouri Valley are just shaking their heads, not really wanting to have to worry about him, but they have no choice. He's only going to get better.
Marshall cuts down the lane, missed the shot. Arnold had the ball momentarily. He was stripped, and on the floor to get it is Brandon Holtz. and the held ball will favor the arrow. Right now is favoring Indiana State.
Well, the Birds were kind of fortunate in that scenario that they gave up a very easy dribble penetration for a layup, but they missed it. And then we gave up the offensive rebound, but stripped them on their way back up, and then we dove on the ball. So I guess the Redbirds did not give up any points in that regards, but the Sycamores regained possession out of it.
Give credit to Brandon Holtz for going down there and getting his hands on it, trying to scrum it out of there.
Birds in a 2-3 zone after the inbounds underneath the Sycamores basket.
Carter, open three is good.
Too far off the man. If you're going to play zone, if you're one of those out people playing the perimeter, you got to get up in their face, because this is a team that loves to shoot the outside shot. Momentum is starting to swing as the half finishes out. The fans are in the ball game for the Sycamores. They're on their feet, wanting to get a defensive stop. We're at 10 seconds.
Final possession of the half. It's Boo Richardson. He goes inside to Dyer. Now Rubin. 3 to shoot. Long three. Boo Richardson is short, and that's the end of the half. So the Sycamores claw back and have pulled to within 5. Nonetheless, a good first half for the Redbirds. Illinois State 40, Indiana State 35. Halftime at the Holman Center here in Terre Haute. Back here in Terre Haute, where Illinois State leads Indiana State 40 to 35. Let's take a look at some of those highlights from the opening half of play. The Redbirds shooting the ball lights out.
Well, and in one person, the form
in
of
particular,
Cyrus Eldridge is just lighting it up. He's 7 of 9 from the floor in the first half, 3 of 3 from the free throw line, 5 of 6 from the three-point line. He has just been tearing it up. But here we see him get an assist and a great finish off the left-hand dipsy doodle there by Boo Richardson. Great feed, good pass inside from Boo to Dima Odiakosa as he finishes one close in, and a good-looking runner that time down the right side by Emmanuel Holloway.
First half numbers, both teams shooting the basketball very well. The Redbirds at 68% of the opening half. Indiana State countered with 52%. We were talking off the air. If you'd have told the Sycamores they were going to shoot 52% in the opening half, they'd probably say, we'll take that, but they're down 5.
That's right. And, that's the good side for the Redbirds is that they're shooting 68%, but you got to have a little question mark behind it in the fact that they shot that well, did so many good things, but are only up by 5 points. You got to wonder,
The Sycamores winning the battle of the boards. We mentioned that was one of the keys, 11 to 9. Both teams combined for 42 first half field goals. There were only 17 shots missed. So these teams are really shooting the basketball well as we begin the second half of action here. The Redbirds will start the second half with the basketball. They're in their road red uniforms with white trim. Indiana State in the home whites with blue trim. Again, Dom Johnson, the senior from Bell City, Missouri, did not make the, from Kansas, I should say, Bell City, Missouri did not make the trip because he's got the flu.
Yes, he did. He stayed home and did not want to spread anything to anybody else on the team. They've had a run, and about with that, they didn't want to go through it again. I think it was a wise move to leave him back home. As much as we miss him, it's a good thing in the long run.
Jay Tunnel, his short turnaround is no good, and it's Odiakosa that comes down with it.
As well as they both shot the ball the first half, they both come out with a miss to start the second half.
And we've got a foul against Indiana State. It looked like it was away from the ball on Tunnel.
I think he was battling down low with Anthony Slack to get position on the block and got caught with some excessive roughness down there.
And that's Tunnel's third foul. So Stinson has 3 fouls, and Tunnel has 3 fouls. 2 of Indiana State's 5 starters with 3 fouls.
And when you have to play defense so hard as the Sycamores do, that sometimes that can happen to you, that you then have to sacrifice a little offense because your defense has put you in the hole.
That 40-point first half for Illinois State, their largest first half output since a 42-point opening half in Omaha to start the Valley season. There's Anthony Slack's 2.
And there's you see the result of the 3 fouls by Tunnel. He's got to play the next time Slack gets the ball down low. He's got to play a little softer, and Slack finishing with ease.
Gabe Moore now out to Tunnel. Here's Marshall on the spin.
Almost threw it away right there.
Tunnel down low, and it's Odiakosa on his back.
Yep, he was trying to slide high, didn't get there in time, so as the pass came in, he knew he wasn't going to get there, so he rode him a little bit over the shoulder, trying to make life difficult for him, and as a result, his life got a little more difficult with another foul.
That's Odiakosa's first. And we see Isaiah Martin checking the game now for Indiana State. He replaces Tunnel. Stinson behind the screen now gives it up.
As we see their spread out offense, they do a good job of that. They run 5 guys from the free throw line and above when they start their sets, try to get you to go in an isolated one-on-one scenario.
Boy, Marshall.
Oh, my.
Nice move down the lane he created, and he's going to be rewarded with a couple of foul shots.
We'll see him coming down there, but let's check on that contact. I think there was a big swipe right there, but I didn't see any contact. But, you know, they didn't ask my opinion, Kurt. The Stripes said they knew
typically don't come over here and ask us for an opinion.
You know, I'm willing to give them one if they want to come over here, but they just don't seem to want to do that.
Marshall had a quiet scoring game on Wednesday night against Bradley, but a further inspection of the box score shows that he had 8 rebounds in that game. And in the first matchup between these two teams had a 9.3 rebound game. So from the guard position, he's not a guy who's afraid to go in there and crash the boards.
Exactly.
Ball is off of Odiakosa and out of bounds, so Indiana State has got a chance to make this a 3-point possession after Marshall made the first of the 2 free throws and missed the second.
Birds got a little sloppy there in their blockouts, and they didn't finish off the missed rebound, or excuse me, the missed shot with a rebound. And the Sycamores take advantage of it. Get another possession.
Here's Arnold, pump fake, now works on Odiakosa. Lost the dribble, looking for help, still looking for help. Now it's Stinson, he's being hounded by Holloway. Now Arnold left open, his 3 is missed, and it's out of bounds. It's going to go to the Redbirds. Arnold is down on the floor with his palms skyward saying, where was the foul?
Well, he was begging because there was none. And the ref told him so and said, get up and play. We see full court pressure by the Sycamores again. They had some success at the end of the first half. They're going to try to duplicate that to start of the second half. Birds break it easily. We see Holloway bringing it up across the timeline now.
The Redbirds led by as many as 13 points in that opening half, had a 5-point halftime advantage. Now Eldridge out to Richardson. Now it's Holloway. He's open for 3. His shot rims out.
Birds in their half court, man-to-man again. They'd finished the first half playing 2-3 zone. And
Stinson walked.
Right there you see they tried to back down Boo Richardson is what they were trying to do and take advantage of a height. They take advantage of the height mismatch, and in the process, he did. You could tell it was an awkward-looking move from the get-go, and he walked, I think, twice before they called it on the second one.
Well, Stinson's at 6'3", and Richardson's at 5'8", so you're right. If they get that matchup again, there's going to be, you know, trouble down low, and now there's going to be a foul against the Redbirds.
Sampe got his elbow out on the down screen, and when you extend the elbow, that's something that visually an official can see. When they see that extension of an arm, they're going to call it every time. Brandon's got to clean that up a little bit. Now, we see Brandon go to the bench. We see Levi come in. Levi, I think, has had some positive minutes out here today. Whether he's scoring or not, he's doing things to help, and that's what he's got to do. Whether the scoring will come for Levi. He just got to focus on the other aspects of the game, and that's what he's starting to do and be a real contributor in those ways.
Now a blocking call is going to be against Odiakosa, his second of the half.
We're seeing the Sycamores, I think, try to take advantage of some dribble penetration here. And when they spread you out, and like I said earlier, they get 5 guys free throw line and above, that leaves the vulnerability of defensively to the baseline side because they've cleared out the help side. So you have to cut your man off. That's your responsibility to force him high.
2-point shot. Initially, the public address announcer had said 3, but now the officials may want to talk this over.
Well, none of the officials signaled 3, and nobody even considered it a 3 until the PA announcer called it a 3. I didn't realize he was part of the officiating crew, though.
Well, now the officials,
they're going to
go and get it right, and so they'll take a look at the replay monitor. The Redbirds, by the way, have piled up 4 fouls here already in this this second half. Let's see again. Stinson was in the corner.
Oh, I couldn't quite tell on that.
Yeah, that may not have been a conclusive look at that, but the officials nonetheless will try and get a gander from the replay.
Let's see if we can see it here. We're going to get a second look at it.
2-point basket.
It's a 2-point basket. Now the officials have said it was a 2-point shot, so his foot was on the line, we're told. And so Stinson's basket is a 2-point shot.
So the 3 officials were correct, and lo and behold, the PA announcer was wrong.
And Stinson now the first Sycamore basketball player in double figures. He has 10. And the lead, Illinois State's lead, has been cut down to 4. It's a 42-38 Redbird advantage.
And Osiris Eldridge, who was red hot and on fire in the first half, has not scored yet the second half.
And he had a shot blocked, but Odiakosa's there to clean up, and he can't follow it in.
Good rebound, but he didn't get squared on the putback, and as a result, he short-armed it and didn't get it over the rim.
Now it's Moore looking inside. Here's Martin. Spins on the baseline over Dyer. Drew contact, and it's going to be free throw time for Isaiah Martin.
Good position that time by Levi. We'll see a replay here. Looks like he's straight up in the vertical position. He got a little lean on his hands there. You can see that as you saw it on the replay. That's what the official called. Your arms aren't truly straight up. If they lean down at all, they're going to call it every time, and as well they should.
Good-looking freshman player from Chicago, Morgan Park. We mentioned earlier in this broadcast he played last year for Paris Parham, the Illinois State assistant coach, who also coached Osiris Eldridge. So, as Bob alluded to earlier, had a couple of very fine Division I basketball athletes that he's coached at the high school level in the past couple of seasons. Martin missed the first, and he made the second. Closest that the Sycamores have been in a long time. They're within 3 now at 42-39.
Well, they're starting to try to gain a little advantage back here. Let's see what the Birds can do.
Sampay on the low block. Nice spin move, and he's fouled. And he's going to get some free throws.
Took it strong to the bucket.
We'll step aside. Foul shots coming from Brandon Sampay. When we come back, the Redbirds have a 42.
They started with an inside attack, and they got the ball down low on the block. They got some scores out of that, and they created the defense to collapse on them. That opened up some opportunities for Osiris and other players to knock down outside shots, and we kind of haven't been back to that format until we just saw in that last play. Maybe we'll go back to that a little bit more now that the Birds have had a chance to discuss some things and get a little more inside-minded. That creates outside opportunities in the future there. Sampay, who's a good free throw shooter, knocks down the first of his 2 attempts. Bingo.
And he's in the scorebook for the first time here this afternoon. The Redbirds have Sampay, Richardson, Holloway, Dyer, and Eldridge on the floor. Indiana State counters with Arnold, Moore, Stinson, Tunnel, and Aaron Carter, who's just checked in. That's him with the basketball right now in front of the Sycamore bench. Here's Tunnel, 15-footer, that's good.
That's a good-looking shot. You got to be a step closer on defense. You got to make him put the ball on the floor. One of the things that he does is shoot well from the outside. We're talking about power up from the inside, but he doesn't put it on the floor at all. And that's what we got to start making him do.
9 points now for Tunnel. Eldridge looking for his first points in the second half. And his shot changed while he was in the air.
Yep, they contested that one well. He did not look good on that because they had good defense on it.
Moore penetrates but misses the shot. Well, he had an open look that time. Now it's Richardson back in the front court for the Redbirds. Dribble drive on Carter, takes it to the rim, missed it, but steals it.
They got a little lackadaisical when they got the rebound, and Boo doesn't get lackadaisical.
See if the Redbirds make him pay. This time he goes right back to the rim, this time from the other side, and he's going to get to the free throw line.
What tenacious effort right there. Here he comes in after he got the steal. He gets the ball back, and he gets another possession, drawing the foul, now going to the line. Like I said at the beginning of the game, this young man brings so much energy to the game. He is a contagious kind of player in such a positive manner. Misses his first throw, though. Birds got to make this if they want to maintain some momentum here. Get them over the hump a little bit while their offense has kind of got stalled down a little bit at the start of this second half.
He missed them both. So the Redbirds can't capitalize on the backcourt steal. It's a 3-point Illinois State lead. The Redbirds have led from the opening tip. Stinson for the tie, hit a shot blocked. Tunnel gets it. He backs in on Sampay. His short turnaround is in.
Well, once again, they got the ball down low. Tunnel is a guy that can play power ball down there with just about anyone in the valley, and as he did, he came away rewarded with a bucket.
It's as close as it's been since it was 4-2 Illinois State in the first minute of the game. The Redbirds have a 1-point lead. Eldridge on the baseline. His shot is missed. Sampay tried to tip it up. He can't get it. Now it's Tunnel giving to Moore. And the Sycamores have a chance for their first lead of the game.
Trying to get some transition, but they didn't. The Birds did a good job of getting back defensively for it. They've got a mismatch right here, and they kick out from it.
Aaron Carter, the miss. The Redbirds were fortunate there because Adam Arnold had good offensive position for the rebound, but the ball went over his outstretched arms.
That's right. A lot of three-point attempts resulting in long-range rebounds.
Holloway, he's blocked.
Boy, it looked like some contact there. Coach Jankovic was agreeing with me on that.
Carter.
I thought there was contact on that, too, to be honest with you.
And now Tim Jankovic wants timeout.
The Sycamores have come all the way back to take the lead. Down, like you said earlier, they were down to 13 points in the first half. Now they've got a 1-point lead with 13-15 remaining in the game.
Look at them as Valley Conference game brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. We mentioned that this is a key game for several reasons. Indiana State 10-1 at home. They have caused all kinds of trouble for teams coming in. You see the Redbirds start this afternoon's Missouri Valley action 3 games behind league leader Drake, and the Bulldogs can clinch the conference championship this afternoon. Southern Illinois, Northern Iowa, Bradley right there in the thick of things in the middle of the pack, everybody jockeying for position, and Indiana State really feels like if they can get a win here this afternoon, they're right in the hunt of getting out of a Thursday night play-in situation in the Valley Tournament in St. Louis.
Well, and that's important to every team because it's one less game you have to play going down to St. Louis for the Valley Tournament. And when you can eliminate one game, that's big because your legs are fresher and your body's not quite as fatigued going into that run. And that's important. So they got a lot at stake, and they realize that. And having played in it for the last couple of years, they don't want to be there again. It's a pride factor also. Very much a pride factor.
After that brilliant offensive first half for the Redbirds, in which they shot 68%, ISU is 1 of 9 here to start the second half.
Well, they've done a great job of covering up Osiris Eldridge. He's being guarded like glue. He has got people all over him, when and if he gets touches. There we see Holloway going in. We saw the tail end of that replay right there. We didn't follow the whole series, but that's where there was a no call. They blocked and he missed, and they came down and scored to take the lead after that.
And credit, Indiana State, they have stepped it up defensively here in this opening segment here, the first 6 minutes and 45 seconds of this second half. They've got a couple of blocks. They've contested just about every shot.
Well, that's been the difference from first half, second half. The defensive approach and things by the Sycamores. Let's see if they can sustain it, and let's see what the Birds do to counter it.
Odzik has checked in. That's him slipping the ball down low. Reverse layup by Sampay. Right out of the timeout.
Well, that was a huge play by Siad Odzik. He got dribble penetration, and when they do that, it makes a second defender have to commit to you, and he found it in the person of Brandon Sampay's defender, and that left Brandon wide open for the reverse lay-in. Man-to-man by the Birds once again.
McCoy's 3 is missed. Carter high up to get the rebound. It's tipped right back to McCoy, down the lane, and threw it up and in.
Wow. The Sycamores are hitting their offensive boards really hard. We see a replay here. The ball bounces around. It goes free. He gets it. He takes it up. And finishes.
Aaron Carter has really given the Sycamores a nice lift off the bench. And it was Carter keeping that play alive after the McCoy miss of the initial shot, the three-point shot. And it's now McCoy with a chance to do it the three-point way, the hard way. And he completes it. The Sycamores have their largest lead of the game. They're on a 13-4 run. 48-46, Indiana State.
ISU needs to not get too rattled about any of all of this. They need to stay within, as we talked about at the pregame. We talked about one of the keys to it. We see Ozzie come in there, draws the foul as he's going in for the lay-in. one of the keys that I pointed out to you, Kurt, was they have to stay within their sets. They got to be disciplined. They got to be disciplined. And right now, when the Sycamores are making their run, is the most crucial time to remain in your sets and be disciplined, particularly on the road.
Fans here in the Holman Center were begging for a travel before the foul. But instead, it's going to be Sead to the free throw line.
Sead, once again, as he had the previous play, he got good dribble penetration out of that offensive set. And this last time resulted in an assist for him to Sampe. This time results in 2 free throws for himself. 2 productive trips down the floor for Sead Ozick right there.
And we're tied at 48 as we approach the 12-minute mark left in this terrific Missouri Valley Conference action. Marshall drives and scores.
Oh, he went with a passion right then. He wanted that bucket.
Boy, the Sycamores are much more aggressive offensively here in this second half. You mentioned the dribble penetration has been a big story here. Now Eldridge tries to answer. Reverse layup is good.
Wow.
His first points since picking up his second foul late in the opening half.
He pulled the trigger there. He wasn't going to be denied.
And there's Carter for 3.
This is what you don't want to have happen, is the Sycamores get hot at home. That's where this is the thing that they're good at. That's their mojo, is that when they're at home, they get hot and they run you.
Just a 26% shooter from beyond the arc, but knocks down the big 3. Now Dyer's going to try and answer. It rims out. Offensive rebound by Sampe. And Brandon Sampe now is making a living in the paint. He's going to get to the free throw line. He'll have some foul shots when we come back. 11-14 to go here in the second half. The Sycamores
in the first half, they're only 25% in the second half. They are 3 of 12 from the field. Now, with that being said, Sampe goes to the line for 2 throws, and if he knocks them both down, the Birds are only behind by 1. They're hanging around. They're doing what they got to do in these circumstances while the opposing team is making a run.
Well, we mentioned at halftime, despite the fact that the Redbirds were blistering the nets at better than 60%, Illinois State still only had a 5-point lead, and you know when you're on the road that home team is going to make a run, and certainly the Sycamores have done that in the opening moments here in this second half.
Well, they probably, as much as any other team, love to make home court runs. As we said prior to the broadcast, they're 10-1 in this facility here at the Holman Center on this season. 5-1 in the conference play, so this is not unusual for them.
Baseline jumper is missed. The ball is tapped up and controlled by Slack.
That's the first time we've said that name in quite a while, so he needs to come in and be a little more active on what he's doing out here. And the reason we haven't seen him in a while, he's got 3 fouls.
Eldridge gives it up to Richardson. Redbirds can reclaim the lead with a basket here. Odzik one-on-one with Marshall. Little runner, can't get it. Marshall comes down with it. Quickly back up the floor is Gabe Moore. He works one-on-one with Richardson. Down the lane, flipped it up off the glass, can't get it. Sampe, defensive rebound, knocked out of his hands by Moore. All the way down, and contact, and the foul's going to be against Sampe.
It appeared, and we've got a replay to see it here. It appeared on the replay here, we'll find out if Brandon gets whacked, which, oh boy, sure looked like it. And as a result, he ends up getting a foul for a lot less contact. Got to play through those moments on the road. It's tough to say. Difficult, more difficult to do. But you have to fight through all kinds of adversity when you go on the road.
And Moore, as good of a free throw shooter as he is, you just hate to send him to the foul line for those kind of things. He went over the 1,000-point mark in his career earlier this year in a game at Drake, and he drains both those foul shots. And now he's going to go to the bench and get a quick breather, and Aaron Carter comes back in, and Carter again has been a nice spark plug here for the Sycamores in the second half.
Boy, he certainly has been. He's been a real pick-me-up, and that's what you need out of your bench players. Somebody to come in and give you that spark. Birds facing it. Man-to-man defense by the Sycamores, being patient.
We've got a foul against Isaiah Martin of Indiana State, bodying up with Brandon Sampe, who's been very active on the offensive end here in the second half.
Well, they have found that Brandon is active down there as an offensive player. He's doing a lot of good things to get himself in a position to receive the pass, and that's where the Birds had their success in the first half. They start with it inside and then go outside. They're going to experience success.
10 minutes left in this one. 55-52 Indiana State over Illinois State. Kurt Pegler, Bob Morris with you for ISU basketball here on Fox 43 WYZZ.
This is a typical Missouri Valley game. There's no question. There's nobody going to beat anybody by a large margin.
And Anthony Slack is going to get some free throws.
And again, going down low, finding Redbirds open down on the low block. If they're patient, it's not only going to give you you see a replay right here. Slack goes up, gets bumped on the arm as he tries to finish the play out, and as a result, he's going to get 2 free throws. If the Birds continue to go down low, they're not only going to get rewarded with points and the opportunity to score points, they're going to draw fouls on the Sycamores, which will hurt them down the stretch. Slack goes up and very smoothly, very calmly puts the first one right through makes it a 2-point ball game once again with 9:43 remaining in the second half.
Again, Slack did not play in the first game between these two teams as he was still getting that shoulder injury looked at. He didn't even dress for the game, and he has continued to play big minutes for the Redbirds since. He missed 2.5 games with that shoulder injury, and the Birds certainly did miss him, and they're glad to have him back in the lineup.
Oh, no question. No question. He is a leader. Birds showing a little zone right here, I think, just to mix things up. They're in a 2-3. Want to see how the Sycamores attack it. They're being very patient, trying to get dribble penetration, taking a wild runner.
Yeah, driving and missing. And so now the Redbirds come back with a chance to reclaim the lead as we approach the 9-minute mark left in this one.
Sycamores playing a half-court man-to-man. Birds set up in their typical approach to it, seeing what they can get from it. Oh, my, they threw it away.
Eldridge threw it away. Marshall with the steal all the way down, laid it up with the left hand and score.
As Osiris was getting ready to reverse the ball, Boo Richardson made a cut to the bucket, and it went right to the Sycamores.
Now it's Eldridge. Works the baseline. Hangs and fires and scores off the glass.
I'd like to see a little more of that. I think he can do things that no one can defend. He showed right there that he's not only got hang time, he's got presence of where he's at, where the defender's at, and how to finish once he gets to the rim.
57-56. The Sycamores a 1-point advantage. Under 8.5 to go here. We thought we were in for a good ball game, and it's lived up to its billing. Here's Carter. He's bodied up and fouled by Odzik.
Carter made a diagonal slash across the middle of the lane off the dribble, and they called Sead with a little bit of a bump as he comes across, and they've been consistently calling that.
And Aaron Carter, who averages just 3.5 points per game, is sitting on 8 right now at the foul line.
And he's still sitting on 8 because he missed the foul shot. Birds walk it up, get set into their offense, and make an entry into Osiris.
Eldridge looks inside to Slack. He's bodying up down low on Arnold. Arnold pokes it away. Now it's Slack again on the low block. All the way down, laid it up and in. Just a muscle move by Anthony Slack.
And as long as the defender is continuously moving with him, that contact initiated by Anthony is not a foul. Birds take the lead with that basket. Been a few minutes since they've had it, but they're up 1, 58-57.
7.5 minutes to go. It's Moore working on Richardson off a double team. Slips it out to Arnold, who drives the lane, put it up with the left hand cannon, get it tipped up, and there's going to be a foul against, it looks like, the Redbirds.
Yeah, I think they got Boo Richardson on the hold.
And we've got a timeout on the floor. 7:28 to go in this one. Don't go anyplace, folks. Illinois State, a 1-point lead over Indiana State. Welcome back here at the Holman Center. Illinois State with a 58-57 lead over Indiana State. Anthony Slack just with a muscle move here to give the Redbirds the lead. He got the ball in the low block and he just backed himself in where he got within about 2 feet of the basket and just laid it in.
Well, that was determination right there. He knew he had an advantage, and he was going with it all the way. And as a result, he powered it up in. That's what you expect your forwards to do when they get the ball down low. And he did a good job with body control because he never got his free arm out to push off, and he never jumped back into the defender to create an offensive foul. Good job on that move.
Meanwhile, it's Gabe Moore back to the foul line for the Sycamores. By the way, that basket by Slack gives him now 4 straight double-digit scoring games, as Slack is at 10 points for this afternoon's game.
Moore converts the second free throw, puts the Sycamores back up by 1 with 7:25 remaining in the ballgame. Sycamores remain in a half-court man-to-man. We haven't seen much zone out of them this second half, and I think Eldridge's blistering hot shooting in the first half has told him not to go there.
Here's Eldridge. Had the hot hand in the opening half, and it's his first 3 of the second half.
He may be back. He did a lot of excess movement right there without the ball to get himself open. Caught in a position to release and was ready to fire when he got it, and did, and he nailed it.
Eldridge's career high is 30, and he's sitting at 29 right now. What an effort tonight by Osiris Eldridge.
No question about that. He has done superlative work.
Here's McCoy. His shot is no good, and it's Eldridge that comes away with it.
Good defensive sequence that time by the Birds. They contested all passes and the shot and sealed off on the rebound. Now they want to get a good look at the basket, be patient on offense, get the ball in the hands of Osiris.
Eldridge's 3 rolls in and hit the front of the rim, the back of the rim, and rolled in.
When you hot, you hot. And that time, that ball didn't look like it had a chance to go in, but it crawled over that front of that rim and went down.
And a new career high for Osiris Eldridge, giving 32, Illinois State 64. He has half the offense here this afternoon. Moore is fouled on the floor by Siad Odzik.
Birds are staying in their half-court man-to-man defensively and are doing a pretty good job. But occasionally you're seeing Sycamores get dribble penetration from that. When they do, that's what creates problems for the Redbird defense. That time they got dribble penetration from the baseline side. That left a man open down low in the person of McCoy. I apologize. McCoy. It was Moore that had the dribble penetration. And McCoy knocks down the front end of his 2 throws.
McCoy is the player from Philadelphia who was a junior college transfer from Johnson County Community College. He actually had a good game against the Redbirds last year in March in the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament in St. Louis. An 8.6 rebound effort against the Birds in that one. Rattles the second one out.
They seem to be cooling off a little bit, the Sycamores do. They were red hot for about a 8-minute stretch there, and that gave them the lead. And now the defense from the Redbirds have picked up a little bit, and they've kind of cooled off. Amazing how that happened.
Under 6 minutes to go here. Lob down low to Odiakosa. He plays catch with Richardson. Gets a screen for Boo. Works the baseline. Now he's in trouble. Gives it out to Holloway. Thought about the 3. 10 seconds on the shot clock. He's working on Gabe Moore. He lost the ball momentarily. He's looking for help. Now to Sam Pace. 6 on the clock. He tried to drop the ball down to Odiakosa. But it was McCoy who tried to save it. He stepped on the baseline. Now the shot clock hasn't changed. There's 3 seconds remaining on the shot clock.
The Birds have to be cognizant of that fact when they inbound the ball, but they're in a good position here to get it with a quick shot.
And so it'll be Odzik that triggers.
They run a 1-4 low spread out of it.
Sampay bailout jumper is no good. That would have been a shot clock violation. The Redbirds didn't get a very good look at the basket that time.
No, they didn't get much out of it. And credit to Sycamore defense. They were right in the jersey with it all of time for the Redbirds that time. This is what he does best.
Tunnel left open, knocks down a 3.
What he does best. He screens and flares when he goes out high. He doesn't roll.
And Kevin McKenna calls timeout for the Sycamore. So Jay Tunnel, who continues to be a thorn in the side for the Redbirds, now in double figures. He's 5 of 7 from the field. Give him 11 points. He's scored from the inside and the outside. And as you said, Bobby, just kind of springs off the screen. He's the open player. Nobody jumps out on him, and he's got an open look.
Well, that's what you're enabled to do that when your perimeters are so dangerous off the dribble. And when you have a post then that can knock down 3s like that, you're so cognizant of showing help to the dribble penetration of your perimeters. That leaves him wide open, and he's had a field day out there.
And so the Redbirds will have the basketball in a 1-point lead now. It's 64-63. It's Osiris Eldridge, Boo Richardson, Dima Odiakosa, Emmanuel Holloway, and Brandon Sampay, the 5 on the floor for the Birds.
Speaking of 5, we've got exactly 5 minutes remaining in the ball game. This is what just about every Valley game comes down to, isn't it, Kurt?
It's officially crunch time then. Eldridge, a 32-point scoring outburst for him today. Slips the pass down to Sampay.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful two-man work right there. Screen roll, give a dish off to Sampay going in, and what a beautiful finish by Brandon.
Scoreless in the first half. Brandon Sampay has given the Redbirds a nice lift here in the second. Here's Marshall, his 3 over Osiris Eldridge is good for 3.
Wow, that was a big-time shot because Eldridge is right in his face. Huge shot.
And now we're even at 66. Under 4.5 left.
Birds being patient on offense, lots of time left. Oh, they throw it away.
Gabe Moore had the steal, but he lost track of where he was at, and he stepped on the sideline.
Birds trying to feed the ball to Osiris Eldridge, and that's exactly what Gabe Moore thought was happening too. And he read it perfectly, stepped in the passing lane and got the ball, but his momentum carried him over the sideline out of bounds.
Well, he leads the Missouri Valley Conference in steals with 53 coming into the game, so he's in his element when it comes to steals. Here's Eldridge from the baseline corner.
Speaking of being in your element, I think when he's got the ball in his hand, he is in his element no matter where he is on the floor. He is putting on a one-man show. What a display by Osiris Eldridge today.
This is a 34-point scoring outburst from Osiris Eldridge. Ball is loose, it's out of bounds. That should go to the Redbirds. Let's see what happens. Nope, they're going to give it to Indiana State.
Oh my. Tough call right there.
Sycamores will have the basketball when we come back. 3:47 to go. Redbirds 68, Sycamore 66. We're getting set for a fantastic finish here at the Holman Center. Marshall's 3 here for the Sycamores help bring them right back in this basketball game. It's 68-66. Illinois State over Indiana State. Kurt Pegler, Bob Morris with you for ISU basketball here on Fox 43 WYZZ. Crunch time, final 4 minutes of this basketball game. The Redbirds looking for their 11th Missouri Valley Conference victory this season. They're 19th overall, but again, the Sycamores are 10-1 in this building this season. They've been very difficult to play here at the Holman Center. Now it's Marshall driving, slipped the ball into Martin, and we're tied.
Great penetration off the dribble right there by Marshall once again as the secondary defender came over to help. Left an uncontested Martin wide open.
Now it's Eldridge. Cuts through a double team, lost the ball, and he traveled.
Oh well, he took it into traffic, and when you go into traffic, you got to anticipate there's going to be a lot of defenders flocking around you. That happened, and he lost control.
Each team with 12 turnovers here in this basketball game. It's been well played as far as that's concerned.
Tie ball game, Kurt. Here we are at 3:20. Tie ball game on the road for the Redbirds, at home for the Sycamores, where they play their best ball.
Here's Marshall again. Eldridge steps out on him, so now it's Tunnel. He works on Slack, who's got 4 fouls, and it's blocked by Odiakosa.
They come over, give a great presence on the help side, but the Sycamores retained possession.
Gabe Moore again driving, and this time he's fouling Boo Richardson on the rebound. Moore missed the shot, and then he fouled the rebound as Boo Richardson came down with it.
It's only Moore's second foul, so that's really not a concern for the Sycamores. The only person who seems to be in any kind of foul trouble for either team is Anthony Slack. Does have 4 fouls, and that would be quite the blow for the Redbirds if he went out.
Well, the Redbirds certainly have to cash in at the free throw line here, especially when you're on the road.
Well, and Boo's not been successful. He's 0 for 3 for the day from the line, and that one didn't help the Birds.
Here's Marshall. He is all day. Tunnel gave him a nice screen, but he missed the shot.
Yeah, he thought too much. He was so wide open. I think he thought too much on that one.
And now Tim Jankovic wants timeout. So that'll be a 30-second timeout for the Redbirds. All right, Coach, 2.5 minutes to go. What's going on in these huddles?
Well, first let's go to the Sycamores. Right now, they've gotten great dribble penetration by running that 5-high offense where they're all above the free throw line, and that dribble penetration has set up a lot of good dump downs and or kickouts. They've excelled off the ball, so they're going to want to continue that. You're looking at the Redbirds right now. The timeout was taken because they feel this possession is really important to secure a good look at the basket. And they're going to probably try to get the hands, I know I'm going to go way out on a limb here, in the hands of Osiris Eldridge in some way, shape, or form, and let him do some creating, whether it be the finish of a shot or an assist to somebody open. But realistically, both coaches ended that huddle by stressing the importance of defense. Here we see Osiris takes 2 hard dribbles to the left side baseline, knocks down a 10-footer. That's money every time in his hands, particularly today. 2.5 minutes, tie ball game. Birds walk it up. Boo Richardson with the ball in hand, handing off to Osiris Eldridge.
Well, you were right on that. Number 0 is going to have his hands on the basketball in this possession behind a screen from Slack. Missed it. But high up to get the rebounds, Holloway. So the Redbirds get another look.
Great job on the rebound.
Now Richardson working one-on-one with Stinson. Gives it up to Dyer. As we approach the 2-minute mark left here at the Holman Center.
$15 on the shot clock.
Richardson gives it down low. It's Slack. Missed the short turnaround. Osiris Eldridge has it. He's on the floor. He's calling for a timeout. The held ball, jump ball possession favors the Sycamores. So before he could be granted a timeout, the Sycamores reached in there and caused the held ball.
Great job by Eldridge to get his hands on the ball, but he couldn't ever really get true possession of it, and that's caused him to go down to the floor. And they got the jump ball scenario before the Redbirds got the timeout scenario. Possession goes to the Sycamores. And as I said, at the end of those timeouts, both coaches talked about the importance of defense down the stretch. And this is going to be a big possession for both squads right here.
Marshall driving on Osiris Eldridge. Missed the shot. Isaiah Martin, an offensive stick back, and a tip, and he can't get it. It's Tunnel that comes down with it. Marshall on the baseline. Drew contact with Slack.
No call. Wow. No call. That's amazing, Kurt, because that was an advantage to the offense because of the contact.
And Slack playing with 4 fouls, staying in the game. Now it's Holloway. He's spinning on Moore. He's looking for Eldridge. Moore got his hand on it. It went back to Holloway, who drew contact.
That time the Birds got lucky on that exchange because the ball actually came loose when they were trying to hand off to Osiris Eldridge and came back into the hands of Holloway. Then he took it on the dribble to the bucket, tried to short bank shot, and got hit on the arm as he did.
Emmanuel Holloway is a 70% foul shooter.
That'd be the reason why.
Well, he had 2 critical 3-point makes in the game in normal. Big-time threes for the Redbirds. And now he's got a chance to make a difference at the free throw line. Indiana State's Kevin McKenna calling timeout. And again, both sides, like this chess match going on, will map out strategy for the
problems for the Redbirds defensively.
And so Emmanuel Holloway, the junior from Cartersville, Georgia, and Iowa Western Community College, back to the free throw line. And he missed it that time.
A little long off the back of the rim. Now it's a 1-point spread. Sycamores can now be a little more selective on what they want to shoot. We're inside a minute at 50 seconds.
Dribble penetration. Now it's Stinson in the corner. He's guarded by Holloway. 16 on the shot clock. Slack steps out. Now on the switch. Now it's Stinson over Holloway. His shot is missed. It's tipped up. Slack had it in his hands. Holloway goes and gets, and he's fouled in the backcourt, it looks like. No, he stepped on the baseline.
He got pushed. Oh, my, Kurt.
And now Tim Jankovic is screaming for a timeout.
And he's awarded it. Here we see it. There appeared to be just enough contact to move him backwards, and yes, he was definitely on the end line, no question about it, but it appeared as if there had been a little bit of contact that made him back off into that position.
Well, a critical possession that time as Indiana State had a couple of looks at the basket, and it looked like the Redbirds were going to turn them away, but at that point, again, Emmanuel Holloway tiptoeing the baseline, could not get the timeout called. And so it will be Sycamore basketball with a 1-point lead, and now the shot clock is off.
Correct. They can dribble things out. They don't have to take anything but the highest percentage shot known to man, which is the dunk and or layup. And the Birds have to come out and consider when and if they foul them. It'll be interesting to see what Coach Jankovic wants to do in this scenario. Do you foul early, or do you let them run a little time and rely on your defense? It all depends on what his gut feeling is and how he believes the sequence of events is going to come out and what the Sycamore is going to do on offense. So you talk about a chess match right here. It's time for the Birds to make a decision on what they want to dictate the action defensively.
Well, these two teams have played two very entertaining games this year. The game on the 27th of January at ISU won by the Redbirds 65-62, and then this one here is a 1-point Sycamore advantage, 70-69 with 34.8 to go. And so now it'll be Gary Marshall that triggers. Marshall, Tunnel, Stinson, Moore, and McCoy are on the floor for Indiana State. It's Richardson, Eldridge, Holloway, who might be guilty of the foul. Here it is, Emmanuel Holloway, along with Odiakosa and Slap.
Well, they trapped the inbound pass immediately, and as they tried to split the trap, then they made a quick foul, which only ran 2 seconds off, which I like that decision to trap and then foul early, because now you've got some time to go down and do something offensively, and you put some pressure on them shooting free throws.
Gabe Moore has a chance to make this a 3-point game. His first ever career double-double came against the Redbirds in 2005. He had an 18-point and 10-rebound game. He's not going to approach those numbers here this afternoon, but he's more concerned about making this free throw and making it a 3-point game.
Redbirds make a substitution, bringing Levi Dyer in off the bench for Odiakosa. 3-point spread as he makes the second of the two. Birds down 3 with 25 seconds remaining.
Richardson pull-up jumper is missed. Slack tried to tip it, and it's going to be an offensive rebound by Isaiah Martin. Pass in the backcourt at Stinson. He's fouled by Boo Richardson with 18 and a half to go.
Boo had a wide open look coming off the screen at about a 15-foot mark, as you said. Just a little long, and the Birds could not secure an offensive board. Sycamores did a good job getting it, securing it, and hitting the outlet to run a little more time off that clock. Down to 18.5 on the official clock.
And Mariko Stinson, who's a 74% free throw shooter, the sophomore from Memphis, will toe the free throw line for the Sycamores. He's got a chance to make this a 2-possession game. The officials now are taking a look at the monitor to make sure that the time is correct as far as the time remaining in the game. 18 and a half seconds. Is the only thing that they can really be looking at this point.
Yeah, because there was no shot involved or anything of that nature, so it had to be that. And I believe that's what they're looking at, and we'll see if there are any adjustments onto the clock.
Usually there's a second or so added. In this case, there was 1 3/10 second added, so there's 19.8 seconds to go as Stinson will go to the foul line.
Well, at this point in time, the Sycamores are in the driver's seat. There's no question about it, because if he makes any one of these 2 free throws, they've got a 2-possession lead.
And now Martin leaves the game, and McCoy comes in for the Sycamores. And Stinson has a chance now to make it a 5-point spread. And he does.
Birds got to hustle it up the floor, get a basket, whether it's 2 or 3, doesn't really matter.
Richardson all the way down. Oh, no, it's going to be a 3-point opportunity for Boo Richardson.
Now that's a huge call right there. Boo did the greatest thing he could. He got it down and got it to the rim as quickly as he could. 15.7 remaining. They call it a block as he finishes off the lay-in. The ball goes in, as you see on the replay. Oh, yeah. He was not set. There was movement.
So McCoy the foul, and now Boo Richardson a chance to make his own 3-point play here. And he does. And so Illinois State then calls timeout. And so now on this 30-second timeout, the Redbirds will send Siad Odzik, and it looks like Dima Odiakosa back into the game.
Well, we're going defense for offense right now. We've got some guys that can give a couple of fouls right here. We see the replay. Here comes Boo right down the middle again. Look at the guy's defensively. Just enough of a movement. The official believed he was not set. And he was right underneath the rim. And rarely do you get those defensive calls sitting underneath the rim. Got to step up and be outside of that area.
So let's see who both teams send on the floor. Stinson, Moore, Tunnel, McCoy and Harry Marshall are the 5 for the Sycamores. Richardson, Holloway, Osiris Eldridge, Odzik, and Odiakosa are the 5 for Illinois State.
Well, now what this does for the Birds by making that a three-point play, even if the Sycamores make 2 free throws out of this scenario, it allows the Birds to only be down 3, which is back to a 1-possession ball game. And we have the quick foul on the inbounds, 14-6 left on the clock.
Gabe Moore will walk back down and shoot free throws. Again, he's coming off a game on Wednesday night here in the Holman Center against Bradley when he was 14 of 14 from the line. And he's got 2 shots coming here.
I apologize. I had my scores wrong. They're down. The Birds are down 2. It would still be a 2-possession ball game. I apologize.
The Redbirds need at least a split of free throws here from Mr. Moore. His first attempt is good.
He is money when he walks to that line. That's why he was 14 of 14 against Bradley in the last home game here.
Odiakosa out and Dyer in for the Redbirds. And Moore has a chance to make it a 2-possession game here. It's a 4-point Sycamore lead. Richardson picks up the ball now, 14 seconds and counting, all the way down. Look away, work on tunnel. Now it's out to Odzik. His 3 is missed. Long rebound, back to Siad Odzik. His 3 again is short, and the Redbirds are going to run out of time here. And that's the ball game.
What a comeback by the Sycamores. That's why they now are 11-1 in this building.
That's really a bitter loss for the Redbirds to swallow. They shoot 53.5% from the field. They have a 40-point opening half. And the Sycamores fight and claw back here in the final 20 minutes, and they get a 76-72 win.
You know, you got to tip your hats to the Sycamores. They never let down, no matter how well the Birds played in the first half and shot the lights out. They only were down 5, as we said, at halftime, and then they turned up the defense in the second half and then had enough to hold on down the stretch.
A 34-point scoring effort from Osiris Eldridge in a losing cause. The final score again, Indiana State 76 and Illinois State 72. For Bob Morris, this is Kurt Pegler. We hope you've enjoyed our broadcast from the